Great seeing you here again. My name is Luc de Kuster, founder of the Kuster Academy, and we are looking at the PMBOK 7 at the performance domains. We're now looking specifically at the stakeholder performance domain and also looking at the interactions between stakeholders and other domains, and how can we check that we did a good stakeholder management. We want to verify that all the things we defined before, that we have completed them with success. But before we continue, don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. Let's have a look at the interactions between stakeholders and other domains. When we look at stakeholders, we can already imagine that we will encounter stakeholders in many other domains. And it's very important to understand what these domains are. First of all, we talk about requirements, scope, and priorities. Requirements are set by the stakeholders. We derive the scope. We finish the scope in agreement with the stakeholders. And of course, we have to define the priorities. What do we have to do first? And we do this for the stakeholders. So again, the stakeholders are involved here. We look at project planning, the milestones, all these things have to be agreed by the stakeholders. Acceptance and quality criteria are very important. The stakeholders define these. They are the people or the organizations. They tell us when specific deliverables can be accepted and what are the quality criteria they have to comply with. Deliverables and outcomes, or the outcome, typically defined by the stakeholders. They have a very important influence on this. Of course, we have to deal with stakeholders related to uncertainty. How do the stakeholders like the uncertainty? What are they thinking about uncertainty? And they are determining how we will deal with uncertainty. Of course, we have to report performance to the stakeholders. They need this to make the necessary decisions. And basically, these are all the domains where we have interactions with stakeholders. Let's have a look how we can check the results. Now, when we look at the different elements that we defined at the beginning, we want to verify if we do the good job or not. So let's have a look at the first element, a productive working relationship with the stakeholders throughout the project. How can we verify this? We have to observe the stakeholders and their attitude towards the project and the team, and that provides information about the working relationship. We have to evaluate how is the working relationship with the stakeholders. We observe them, we see what they do, we see how they react. Of course, when we, let's say, stakeholder is motivation, stakeholder reactions are a clear indication. And also when stakeholders are moving a lot, it also may indicate that they are not really satisfied with the outcome of the project. Stakeholders should be stable. Of course, they will change through the project. But when stakeholders are changing a lot, for example, project team members, the project manager, some elements, some important people, we will take this as an indication that we're not doing well in our stakeholder management. The other thing we're looking at is the stakeholders. Do they agree with the project objectives? The number of changes during the project is a very important indication of the agreement of the stakeholders with the project. If they don't agree with what we are doing, the stakeholders will start changing. They start pushing to change things, and typically it means that they are not really happy. Now, when we look at this, when we consider what we call the adaptive approach, in this case, we do not really have changes in this classical sense. We are discovering together with the stakeholders. But when the stakeholders would be going back too much, it may also result in the fact that they are not happy with the project. Typically, we have changes, and when we have too many changes, we can indicate, or it will indicate, that the stakeholders are not in agreement with the project. And we have to avoid that, we have to remediate that, and we have to find solutions to put the project back on track. Another element, when we look at the stakeholders who may oppose the project, do not negatively impact the result. Now, when we look at the behavior of the stakeholders, we can identify if they are satisfied or not. When the project beneficiaries are satisfied or not with the way the project is going. On the other hand, we can use surveys and focus groups to evaluate how the stakeholders think about our project. We need to have feedback. When we look at stakeholders who may oppose to the project, do not negatively impact the results, then we have to say that not all stakeholders are in favor of the project, and they may have a negative impact on it. When we see that some of them are not in agreement, some of them are opposed to the project, then we have a problem. This is, in fact, the way that they may show their discontent, and it's a very important parameter in the project evaluation. So that was it for this part of the stakeholder management, the stakeholder performance area. We will continue with the next performance areas in the following videos, but don't forget to click on the subscribe button, click on the bell button, and every time we have a new video, YouTube will inform you about it. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next videos. Bye bye.